What's going on, everybody? With 1,000 Years of Longing coming out later in the month, I decided to get a little bit familiar with George Miller's work, mostly because the only things that I'm actually familiar with are either Happy Feet or Mad Max Fury Road. So I decided to go through his catalog to get a little bit familiar so we can get prepared for 1,000 Years of Longing. And today we're going to be starting off with his directorial debut, Mad Max, a film that I've actually never seen. So I was pleasantly surprised by this film because it was definitely a film that is different than I was expecting, and it's actually not that bad. This film tells the story of Mad Max in a self-destructing world as a vengeful Australian policeman sets out to stop a violent motorcycle gang. The film stars Mel Gibson, Joanne Samuels, and Hugh Keith-Byrne. And this film is actually completely different than what I was expecting because, like I said, the only films that I was really familiar with is Happy Feet and Mad Max Fury Road, and so I thought we were going to be getting a lot more of that, but it's actually more of a personal story, and that is something that I really liked about this film. From what I've read is that this film came out 5 years after The Punisher, and they both share a lot of similarities, where most of their vengeance comes from a significant other dying. And I really enjoyed the chemistry between Mel Gibson and Joanne Samuels in this film. And say what you want about Mel Gibson, Lord knows that a lot of people have so many things to say about him from his personal life, but we're not going to be getting into that because I think he did a really good job as Max in this film, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name because it's a name that is hard to pronounce, and I am not going to butcher the last name. I really enjoyed Max in this film. I thought it gave us a little bit more of a different dimension than I was actually anticipating, and even though once we get into that middling section where we're basically just getting focused on his relationship between him and his wife and his kid, I thought it was a little bit more personal than I was actually anticipating. The fact that this film was done on a $350,000 budget, I believe, I thought for the most part it was a really well done low budget film because it really does show what you can really do with a very low budget for anybody that is wanting to pursue a career in filmmaking, because even though this film was done on a $350,000 budget, there was a lot that you could have done with that little small of a budget, and it really does show, even with the model that Jason Blum does, it really does show that you can achieve a lot. I'm not sure how much was practical, how much was done in CGI, post-production, but seeing how a lot of this stuff looked practically done, it was really well done, and I really enjoyed a lot of the action sequences. I really like the fact that this film doesn't take its time to get us into the core meat of the film. It starts off with a really fun action sequence in the beginning of the film. It just lifts us off into what the film is going to be, and I thought for the most part it was well shot, it was well done. It does play with time just a little bit, I believe, where we go back in time and see what causes Max to go on this vengeful rampage. And I think they built it up really well with getting us familiar with Joanne's character and seeing the relationship between her and Max in this film. I thought it was really well done. It was a really heartwarming love story that ended in tragedy. And I really like the shots and the moments that George Miller decided to do, because there are things that I really enjoyed seeing in this film and I thought was going to be a little bit gratuitous. Seeing how the film is rated R, I thought we were going to be getting a bombastic action film just like what we got with Fury Road, but it really is just more of a small contained story, because even though we do get a lot of action sequences, it really isn't all that much that is the central focus of this film. A lot of it is left to the imagination, whether you're talking about Goose's burnt body or you're talking about Max's wife getting killed. You don't really get to see a lot of that, and you're basically left to the imagination. And I've said this in a couple of reviews. I believe I've said it in Stranger Things. I believe that's where I've said it, and I've said it in my review for The Cursed. There's something scary about things that you cannot see and things that are being left to the imagination. And I think for the most part, George Miller succeeded in that realm where he's not showing you every little thing that is happening, but he's letting you leave some of it to the imagination. And even though this film is a bit shorter than I actually thought it was going to be, I thought it was going to be about 2 hours. It does ranges at about 90 minutes. I think for the most part, for a directorial debut, I thought George Miller did a really good job of not only giving us a reason to care for this character's rampage and a lot of shots that he chose to do with this film, because once you go back to rewatch that scene where Max goes to visit Goose's body and you just get to focus the zoom in on Max's face of the look of horror, the way that his wife's death was shot, just letting us see the baby shoes fall to the ground as the motorcycle gang just goes on by their merry way, and just the way that it was kind of shot but kind of left in the background, you feel Max's pain for what just happened. And I really like that he chose to leave some of it to the imagination while showing some of the action sequences in the film, and I like that it was shot very well, and that is something that continues on into Mad Max Fury Road. And seeing how Hugh Keays-Byrne comes back in Fury Road, not as Toe Cutter, which I thought he was amazing in this film. I thought he was a great villain, and a lot of people claim this as an all-time classic, and I will join in that conversation. I think for what this film is, it is an all-time classic. Even though I wasn't a big fan of the way that the film ended, I think everything in between that I thought was a lot of fun. I like the way the action sequences were shot. It's not a lot of shaky cam, and that continues on in Mad Max Fury Road, where you get to see the action sequence in its full capacity. Even though there are some shots here and there that really didn't work for me, I thought for the most part it was a lot of fun. It was intriguing to see, even though it is sharing a lot of similarities to The Punisher. I thought for the most part, I thought it was a lot of fun. The action sequences were shot beautifully and constructed amazingly. I thought for the most part they did a really good job of getting us connected to Max and his personal life. I thought that was a great touch that I was not really expecting to see in this film. But I had a lot of fun, even though I was not that big fan of the ending. Overall, I'm going to go ahead and give Mad Max a classical 8 out of 10. It is a fantastic film. The action sequences were a lot of fun. I thought Toe Cutter was a great villain for this film, even though you don't get to see a lot of Mad Max going on his vengeful rampage, a quick montage during the last 30 minutes of the film. I thought for the most part, even though we could have used a little bit more of Max going on a bit of a rampage, I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was a lot more humanizing than I actually anticipated this film to be. But what are your thoughts on Mad Max? Did you like it? Did you not like it? How does it hold up for you? Leave those thoughts in the comments below. And if you like this review, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on more reviews. Click that bell notification so you get notified every single time a video pops up. And I will see you guys next time on the next review.